Okay, so a couple more things. Wanted to kind of just run over that you may not quite get. It's only in the past week I've discovered these. So as I said, you've got your can handle. Can I go and do this? Yes, I can. Fantastic. In this section is where you're going to be building everything. And this is where you have to put all your code, and you're essentially just waiting for a bit of text to come back. So on my one, it's going off, it's going to Airtable. I'm using Resolve as opposed to HTTPS as a module. Goes off to my... Here are all the answers in case you want to ace my distillery quiz. It gets the easy, hard, and the answers. Sends them all back, puts them in a long list, which just stays in the session, and then we get the question that is going to be asked. So we've got our current answer is from the questions is the answer. You'll see this is worth knowing. To lowercase, how you match what's been said and what you're expecting. She will take whatever is in your intent slot and what has been said. So I've got some code on a previous one which comes from all of Jeff's stuff. We have spoken value, which is get spoken value is whatever whiskey, in this case, this is the one that looks up different whiskies and gives you information on them. That will be whatever is in your slots. So let's just go back to, let's bring up that one, it will make a bit more sense than your skills. Whiskey companion. So Alberfeldy 12-year-old, Aberlour 10-year-old, that sort of a thing. So if they say synonyms, Aberfeldy 12, this spoken value is going to be that. Whatever synonym they used is what you're going to get back. You're not going to get Aberfeldy 12-year-old in this case. This is useful to know that it's all going to come back. Siri kicking in. This is interesting. It's a party. What was it? If you want this value, which is very important when you're doing quizzes, as opposed to synonyms. So I'll give an example. In the distillery world, Arran Distillery is Isle of Arran Distillery and Arran Distillery. And I accept both. I have it as a list in my, on my slot value as Arran, just as a single word, but a synonym of it is Isle of Arran, just in case someone says either. Same thing with Macallan is actually the Macallan when it comes to distilleries. So you may want to actually reply back with what they said, literally. So I'm looking up a whiskey, you said Aberfeldy, and I'm giving you the information on Aberfeldy 12-year-old. The spoken value using this hand input, which the get spoken value, look at Jeff's stuff. I mentioned it, I think, in one of my earlier videos. It comes from all of this code, which you will see floating around quite a lot. Let's go back to where we were. The spoken value is literally what they said. So if they say a synonym, you're going to get the synonym back. Synonym. But you may want it so you get the response value. And using the same bit of code, you have resolved values. The resolved value is that side. So the Aberfeldy 12-year-old. So this bit of code will If it doesn't find what I'm looking for, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to find a whiskey called whatever they said, the spoken value, literally what Alexa heard. But I replied back with the whiskey, Aberfeldy 12-year-old, resolved value, the first thing that comes, this section, what it really is, not the synonym. So when you're doing a quiz, you're always going to want what was actually resolved to be the thing that you said. So going back to my Aaron, Isle of Arran, if they say Isle of Arran, I'm going to translate as Aaron because that is what I have as a right answer. So we will go back to my distillery quiz and we will look at my answers. I'm comparing the resolved value. I make it lowercase because I made the current answer lowercase because Aaron capital and Aaron lowercase aren't the same, so you'll always get that wrong. Quite frustrating for the end user. So, resolved values using the code underneath from Jeff's stuff, you're going to be able to compare what was said on a value in the slot. If you want them to repeat what they said, you use the first one, which is getting the spoken value, so what was actually said. Hope that makes sense. Just run over it one more time. This bit of code with the bit at the bottom, which you'll see floating around, will give you what was actually said, the spoken value, whatever synonym they've used, or they may actually say the Aberfeldy 12-year-old, they can be the same thing. You can say Aberfeldy 12-year-old, but if you just say Aberfeldy 12, that's your spoken value. But if you want the resolved value, what the synonym matches to as a value, you have to use the resolved value. Hope that makes sense. Feel free to ask any questions as I go along. I may reply. So I'm not really doing this as like, hey, this is the greatest tutorial in the world. Just found out things about it. But someone was asking about synonyms, slot values, how you get them to work. That may answer a bit of a question. Let's leave that one there. I think I have one or two extra things to show. These are going on quite a bit. 8 minutes? Yeah. Most people can skim through that. I'll put a little bit at the bottom of just like, hey, this is what this does. Yeah, see you again.